The chandeliers didn't blink when the sentence fell. "Your son has only 2 months," said Dr. Evelyn Cho, voice steady, eyes on charts. 4 other doctors nodded, white coats like flags of surrender. Michael lay pale under the skylight, 10 years old, fragile wrists, quiet eyes that followed light but avoided faces. Machines hummed, soft as bees, cruel as clocks. Robert Sterling stood perfectly still, a billionaire carved from headlines. Power looked good on him, but mercy had never been tailored to fit. He inhaled, slow. "Money is not the question," he said. "Tell me the cure." Silence, then papers shuffling, then an apology wrapped in clinical terms. "No cure, only comfort, weeks, not years." Sophia, the head housekeeper, swept through like winter, whispering orders that cut. "Keep the staff away from the East Wing," she hissed. "No drama, no noise." John, head of security, watched the new maid like a hawk watches a mouse. Her name was Emma. Her shoes were scuffed, her paycheck small, her eyes stubbornly kind. She was hired that morning, handed a uniform and a warning. "Do not speak unless spoken to," Sophia said. "And do not look Mr. Sterling in the eye." Emma nodded, tucked a curl behind one ear. She moved quietly, learned the rooms, where dust pretended to be velvet. She learned that Michael flinched at sudden light but relaxed when rain touched the windows. That evening, Emma carried tea past the room where the verdict had been delivered. She paused, listening to the hum under the floor. A low tremor, something mechanical muttering behind the walls. She set the tray down, pressed her palm to the baseboard. It was warm. Outside, the garden smelled of wet earth and rosemary. Inside, the East Wing smelled like nothing at all. Nothing can be a smell when it swallows every other. Emma rubbed her temple. Headache, slow, blooming. Sophia cornered her by the linen closet. "You're frowning," she said. "It confuses the guests." "Sorry," Emma whispered. "Don't be sorry, be invisible." Sophia smiled without warmth. "People like you don't last here." Emma swallowed the words she wanted to say. She carried the tea to Robert, who did not look up. Michael was awake, eyes on a dust mote turned gold in lamplight. Emma crouched, kept her distance. "Do you like the rain?" she asked, voice soft, like unwrapping a secret. Michael blinked, then looked at the window. He pointed at the glass, at the dark, at something beyond. Emma followed his finger and felt the house breathe. "Do you hear that?" she asked. No one answered. In mansions, secrets prefer silence. Emma did not. She pressed her palm to the baseboard again and whispered, "It's the house." After midnight the hum grew louder. So did the headache. Emma stared at the vent above Michael's bed and thought of winter roads and engines and rooms that smelled like nothing. She closed the window to test a hunch. The air changed, and her breath caught. She opened it quickly, heart thudding. The monitor steadied by a hair. Emma's hands shook. 2 months, she whispered into the hush. And the house answered with a low, relentless, hungry purr. Morning came washed in steel light. Emma set a glass of water on the sill and watched condensation run like tiny rivers. Michael tracked them with his eyes. When she cracked the window, his breathing loosened. When she closed it, a faint tightness crept back. "Coincidence," Sophia said, gliding in with fresh linens. "You're here to sweep, not to guess." "I'm here to notice," Emma answered before she could stop herself. Sophia's smile was a knife. "Noticed your place yet?" "Bottom of the ladder." John paused at the door, earbud in, eyes flat. No gadgets in the rooms, new girl, and left. By noon, the doctors returned with schedules and euphemisms. Dr. Evelyn adjusted a monitor. "We'll focus on dignity," she said. Robert stood by the window, eyes on the city, one hand on his tie like it could hold him together. "What if the room is hurting him?" Emma asked, heat rising. Evelyn's glance could frost glass. "That's not how this works, dear." Emma nodded, but the thought wouldn't leave. Her mother's voice surfaced. "Listen to the house, Em." So Emma listened. She found the laundry chute, felt a draft climbing it like a ghost. She followed the hum down a back stair, where the tiles grew colder and the light thinned. At the basement door, John appeared again. Staff only below this point. I am staff, Emma said. Staff with permission, he said, locking the door. Go fold towels. At lunch, she sat with the dishwashers, girls with aching feet and fast jokes. Headaches, one muttered, always worse on the night shift. The pastry cook rubbed his temple. Smells like nothing, that's the strange part. Emma's heart kicked. She wrote a list on a napkin. Headaches, better outside, worse at night, warm baseboards, silence with teeth. On her way back, she stopped at a corner shop by the service gate. She bought 2 small detectors with the coins in her apron. The clerk nodded toward the mansion. Power goes out there, their generators yowl. Generators? She asked. New ones, he said. Blue boxes. Emma hid one detector behind a picture frame in Michael's room. She tucked the other inside the linen closet near the stair. Sophia caught her closing the frame. Decorating now? Dust was busy, Emma said. You break anything you pay, Sophia replied. Evening bled into night. Rain began, steady and patient. Emma read to Michael about a boy who could hear fish thinking. He watched her mouth, then the window, then the vent. When thunder rolled, the hum under the floor deepened. Robert drifted in, tie loosened, eyes haunted. He stood beside Emma without looking at her. Do you pray? He asked. Sometimes, she said. Pray for quiet, he whispered and left. 2:17 a.m. The detector in the linen closet screamed. A needle of sound, fierce and thin, cutting through the mansion's hush. Emma bolted upright, heart racing. From Michael's room came a second scream. She looked at the monitor. SpO2 dipping. The house roared in her bones. Michael, she breathed. We're leaving. And reached for him as the alarms kept rising. Emma scooped Michael into her arms. He was lighter than the quilts that covered him. John, she called. Open the balcony. No answer. Only the detector's scream, angrier by the second. She slammed her shoulder into the latch. It burst and rain air rushed in, cool and honest. Michael's chest lifted like a kite finding wind. John appeared, hand on his radio. Stand down. Look at the monitor, Emma said. The green line steadied, numbers rising by a notch. John hesitated. Robert stormed in behind him, half tie, all fury. What is this? Air, Emma said. He needs it. This is not your call, Robert snapped. Dr. Evelyn swept in with 2 nurses, calm wrapped around Hurry. What's that sound? She asked. Detectors, Emma said. Carbon monoxide. Impossible, Evelyn frowned. Smell the nothing, Emma answered. Thunder rolled. The detector shrieked again. Evelyn's pupils tightened. Bring the tank, she told a nurse. Let's humor her. On the balcony, Michael drank the wet night with greedy breaths. Evelyn clipped a pulse oximeter to his finger. 92, 94, 95. Emma exhaled. See. Robert watched, jaw working, pride cracking at the edge. What is running in this wing? Evelyn asked. Generator 2, east side, John said into his radio. Where is its intake? Emma asked, pointing at the vent above the bed. No answer. Turn it off, Emma said. We lose power, John protested. We lose Michael, Emma said. The words cut through rain and rank fear. Robert made the call. The hum under the floor faded. The alarms faltered, then sagged into feeble chirps. The monitor steadied like a hand finding a railing. Evelyn stared at the numbers, belief shifting. Move him to the west rooms, Robert said, smaller now. Not until the air is tested. Emma kept her ground. Since when do maids make demands? Sophia snapped from the doorway. Since a boy started breathing, Emma replied. Evelyn turned the detector in her hand. What made you think of this? Warm walls, night headaches, quiet with teeth, Emma said. Evelyn nodded once, surrendering a hill she never owned. Call the fire department and environmental tech. Sirens braided with thunder. Meters blinked, uncaring and precise. A captain looked at Evelyn, then at Robert. CO in the vents, he said. Hi. Source. Robert asked. Likely the new generator, exhaust near an intake, the captain said. Evacuate the east wing, he ordered. Staff scattered. Emma felt Michael's breath easier, warmer, real. Robert stood inches away, as if distance was suddenly expensive. Thank you, he muttered, words tasting of rust. Lightning lit the balcony like day. In that flash, truth showed its plain face. Not a miracle. A mistake. And the question of blame hung in the wet air. John's radio popped, power down in 3. The alarms gulped, then died. Rain took the rest of the sound. Evelyn touched Michael's forehead. Stay with us. The numbers flickered once more. They were not safe yet. Old air still pooled in the rooms. Mask, Emma said, hand out, voice hard. Evelyn placed it in her palm without argument. And the night leaned forward to see what they would do next. Morning arrived the way truth does. Blunt. The fire crew taped off the east wing, fans clattered in windows, air tasting like pennies and rain. Meters blinked numbers that made even the marble look guilty. The captain drew a simple map for Robert and Dr. Evelyn. Blue generator. Red exhaust. A duct mouth too close to a vent that fed Michael's room. Storm nights pull it in, he said. You were lucky anyone heard it. Evelyn rubbed her brow, quiet for once. I misread a pattern as a prognosis, she said. Hypoxia mimics decline. Robert stood without his armor, eyes hollow. I bought the best, he murmured. And forgot the basics. Emma kept Michael in the west sunroom, windows open, rain-washed air clean and honest. His color returned by shades, cheeks like sunrise instead of ash. Sophia arrived with blankets and an apology. I was cruel, she said. I thought knowing my place kept order. Order isn't care, Emma answered, soft. John lingered in the doorway, cap in his hands. I was guarding the wrong door. Sometimes humility starts in the lungs. Evelyn stepped in, chart under her arm, voice stripped of theater. We'll keep him on oxygen today, she said. Blood gases are improving. She faced Emma squarely. You were right. I was loud, Emma said. Loud can be right, Evelyn replied, a tired smile finally real. Robert came to the window, pride sanded down. My engineers rushed the install, he said. I told them to. I thought speed was mercy. Speed is a kind of power, Emma said. Power forgets the slow language of rooms. He nodded, a student for the first time in his life. Reporters gathered at the gate. Sophia met them. No statements, a child is resting. Inside, the doctors agreed on the record. Misdiagnosis averted by environmental detection. Emma tried the words and set them down. Too heavy, too strange. Michael tapped the glass, pointed to the garden, then to Emma. Later, she whispered. He tapped again, and smiled, small, new. Have you ever seen a smile feel like a door opening inside your chest? Robert watched and exhaled like a man surfacing. What do you need to keep him safe? He asked Emma, not bargaining now. Monitors in every vent, she said. Training, drills, real inspections. Done, he said. More is not the point, she added. He heard it. By noon the east wing sighed clean. The hum returned, honest for once, mechanical, not predatory. Evelyn checked the numbers again. 96. 97. The house felt different, honest for once. Robert's phone lit with messages, lawyers and board members and headlines. He silenced it, then faced Emma. Stay, he said. Not as a maid. Emma waited. As the person my son trusts, he finished. Emma nodded once, eyes bright. Michael pointed again to the garden. Evelyn checked the meter, then the sky. Let's see what happens when he walks, she said. They stood, 3 adults and 1 brave child, facing the door and the clean day. The garden glimmered, green. Michael lifted his foot. And the threshold looked both close and far at once. What waited beyond it might change all 3 of them. They waited at the threshold, sunroom doors opened to a world rinsed clean. Wind combed the hedges. Emma crouched to Michael's eye level. Slow, she said. You tell me. He nodded, serious as a promise. 1 step. Another. Bare feet on cool stone, then warm wood, then damp grass. He inhaled like a sailor seeing shore. Something heavy lifted from Emma's chest. Robert followed, not leading this time. Sophia stood with a blanket, face unpainted by pride. John hovered near the gate, radio silent, guarding the right thing now. Dr. Evelyn trailed with a meter, reading the sky like scripture. At the rosemary bed, Michael crushed a sprig. He held it to Emma's nose, green and peppered. Smell, he whispered. Emma blinked hard and smiled. Michael, Robert said, voice breaking. My boy. Michael moved his fingers in a clumsy sign Emma had shown him. Robert copied, unsure but willing. How often do we treat silence as emptiness, not language waiting for a listener? Bees answered by stitching gold in the air. They reached the stone bench. They listened to the after rain. No one hurried the quiet. Then Robert faced the staff by the path. I trusted speed over care, he said. Titles over wisdom. He turned to Emma. You kept him alive because you listened. We all did, once we stopped shouting with our certainty, she said. Evelyn nodded, owning the sentence with her eyes. We change how this house breathes, Robert told Sophia and John. Training, drills, independent inspections, Sophia said, already making lists. Access everywhere for anyone who says something feels wrong, John added. We'll teach signs of bad air to everyone, Evelyn said. Everyone, Robert repeated, making the word large. Emma looked toward the city beyond the gates. Detectors, she said. Not just here. We'll fund them, Robert answered. 10,000 homes, start today. Sophia breathed out a small yes. Some promises bend the shape of a day. Michael tugged Emma's sleeve and pointed to the narrow trail beyond the hedge. Evelyn checked the meter and smiled. Go. They stepped into wild grass, bright with insects. Michael laughed, a sound as new as first light. Robert covered his face, then let his hands fall, astonished. Emma let the laugh write itself into her bones. Have you ever heard a sound that edits your whole life in a second? They stopped where the hill met the blue line of the bay. Michael held the rosemary out to the wind, generous and brave. Evelyn caught Emma's gaze. You proved us wrong. He did, Emma said, nodding at the boy who had pointed at a window long before anyone listened. The house behind them now breathed like a creature that had learned manners. But the lesson was larger than vents or wires. It was about who gets believed and when. About how money can close ears if you let it. And how a quiet voice can open a door no key can find. If you were Emma, would you have risked your job to carry a child into the rain at 2:17 a.m., or stayed silent because the powerful said wait? What's one time you listened to a small, stubborn feeling, and it changed everything?